Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Chrissy Hodges. I'm an advocate for OCD, in particular pure OCD, the community name for individuals with intrusive thoughts and mental rituals. Today, I've been wanting to do this video for a while, and my apologies for not being in my normal spot. I'm in Winter Park, Colorado, just for a few days of work and getting away into some cooler weather. Today, I wanted to talk about and clarify a little bit in regards to OCD. I've been talking a lot recently about real event OCD, especially when it comes to things that have happened in your childhood and your teenage years. I've had Johnny Say on here, and we've talked a lot about that. More when things have happened in like the a sexual capacity, like exploration, child's play, things like that. And per usual with OCD, what OCD likes to do is to take facts or take things that you may see as relief or proof, the things that we're always looking for with OCD, right? And it likes to twist it and say, you're the exception. What's happening to you is not OCD, or what's happening to you in regards to real event is something that you should feel bad about, is something that you did horribly wrong, is something that does make you a horrible person. So I just wanted to go into that a little bit today because I do think in talking about this a lot, and real event can be just really misunderstood. And there's so many different layers of shame and guilt that people feel. Just wanted to make a few clarifying points, but also do it in a way that's supportive, in a way that's not going to fuel the compulsive cycle of your OCD. So I'm a certified peer support specialist working with people worldwide, providing support, referral consultations, and I run groups through my practice. And I do have a pretty special and awesome online community. In this community, it is like an app. And on the app, we have several different forums you can post on, lots of support from people all around the world. We have certified peer support specialists working in the community. I run events. We are starting a book club soon, and lots of different cool spaces that you can really find other people, express what you've been going through, and just in general get support. So I'd love for you to join. It's open to anybody that has OCD. It's $35 per month, and it includes everything that the app gives, including support groups and everything. So check it out below in the description and click on the link to join. Um, NoCD is an app, and inside NoCD's app, there's all kinds of resources. You can meet other people. They do groups as well, and they also do telehealth. They do ERP in many, many places worldwide. So check them out at treatmyocd.com or nocd.com. Okay, so let's get into the topic and the reason why. The reason why I'm talking about this is so when we're talking about real event OCD, real event OCD is based on something that has really happened. Okay. And OCD can latch on to this real event and just spin you out of your world. Um, I think that the difference and the added layer of shame that comes with real event is that you're almost dealing with the shame of OCD, but you're dealing with whatever has happened that is the real event as well. With these two things in particular, the doom and the haze, the I don't deserve happiness, that can get really big and really heavy for people. A lot of times, just the real event itself can be enough for people to say, there's no way I can ever get over this. There's no way I'm not a good person. So, a lot of the things that I talk about, because you just hear these generic real event scenarios when people are talking about it that are just, I mean, yeah, they can be terrible and, they can torment people. But a lot of people don't talk about the real event that so many people struggle with, which are things that have happened in your childhood that maybe um, make you feel like violent intrusive thoughts are justified now, or sexual intrusive thoughts are justified now, or maybe, if something happened in sexual exploration when you were younger, or when you were a teen, or when you were a young adult, even when those things happen, that says something about what you're experiencing now. Whether you're having the theme of POCD, incest OCD, um, being a sexual deviant, things like that, or if it's just about the real event itself, the shame can be really, really heavy. One of the things I wanted to address today, and I've been talking a lot about this, and especially since Johnny and I've talked about it, we talk about child's play. Okay, so child's play is just kind of a natural sex exploration that happens when you're younger. Now, I also want to be very clear here that child's play can happen and it can really hurt other people, or it can hurt you, or it can be confusing or shameful later on. So I'm not talking about this in a flippant way of like, oh, everybody does this. I mean, but in reality, a lot of people engage in sexual exploration, whether it's with themselves or others, when they were a kid, whether that's close family members, neighbors, friends. And again, we're not talking about abuse. We're not talking about like an adult who consistently abused a child. That is not child's play. Child's play is when you're older, thinking back on really weird shit that you did and you don't understand why. As an adult now, you would have never you know, had your cousin pull his pants down and touched his penis, or whatever else. I'm just giving examples. But these are the things that we're talking about when we're talking about child's play, natural child sex exploration. The thing is, though, it's not just about being a kid. This can happen in your teen years too. This can happen in your early 20s too. You know, sex, and especially depending on the household you grew up with, the beliefs around sex, if your house was sex positive and you talked about things that had to do with sex or not, sex could seem taboo, sex could seem wrong, which then sometimes for a lot of us, including yours truly, makes you want to explore it more. You know, so when I was a young child, like I think I've even shared with y'all before, like I was really like sexually charged as a kid, starting in like the third grade. So, I mean, and it was weird. Once my OCD started, like I had like this ritual and masturbation was part of it. Even though like in my upbringing, in my mind, it was wrong, that's what I was told. My brain was still like, but it feels good. And I'm curious about this. And as a child, we are curious about that, whether we see something on TV, whether someone talks about it, whether we're seeing images now on our phones, you're going to be naturally curious about sex. But then that also can happen in your teenage years, in your older teenage years. I look back in my 20s on, things that I did like early 20s and stuff, late teens, and just the wild shit that I did and said and how I hurt people and but I at that point now as a 48-year-old, I can look back and just think I didn't have the same mindset. I didn't have the same clarity. I mean, I was sick with OCD for God's sake, really badly. You know, I was just trying to survive. I hurt a lot of people on the way. I did a lot of things that were horrible. And I can easily label myself as a shitty, bad person. And I know that that's what you're thinking too. You're going, Chrissy, you have no idea. Like something happened with me when I was 19, and now I'm 25 and, I deserve horrible things because I'm this horrible person and I should have known better. But let's just think about this. Like, because I guarantee you're using that word as you're thinking about the real event, and should equals shame. Of course, we all go back to every part of our life. A lot of parts in our lives. I should have done this better. I should have made this decision. But again, and I just want to emphasize this, you can't go back with the mindset you have now and change what happened. Even if you would change it now, you can't. So the task now is how do you get your OCD under control so you can deal with the real event separately than having it charged with this disorder that's going to perpetuate the idea that you're a shitty person and you don't deserve happiness. Now, a lot of people have contacted me since this, I've been talking a lot about this, and it's typically I was older, I should have known better. So that must mean that I am a deviant and I did do something wrong and illegal and I should be in jail. Again, shoulds. And the other thing is, I, because this happened, I don't deserve a good life. I don't deserve happiness. How can I go on and think that because this one thing happened, or maybe something happened several times, or maybe you were the instigator of something, um, that you don't deserve happiness or a life. And for some reason, your entire life needs to atone for something that happened years ago, that if you were in that position, you would choose differently. And I know that you hear the words coming out of my mouth and you're thinking, but this is different, Chrissy. I cannot tell you how many emails, how many people I've talked to that have said, but this is different, Chrissy, over and over and over. I'm going to take the real event out of this for a minute and tell you that OCD makes you feel like you are different. Your scenario is different. You're the exception. What I did was different. What I did warrants never being happy, warrants self-punishment the rest of my life, and possibly intervention from the police or whatever. That's what you're going to think. But you're going to think this for anything for OCD, that you're different, that you're the exception. So you can either choose to believe that this is what OCD will perpetuate for you because it does for everybody, or not, and continue to have the barrier of you getting treatment be, my situation is different and I don't deserve relief. That is a choice that you are making. You're making that choice. And I know that this probably seems harsh, but I think sometimes we need to be jarred out of that mindset that I'm the only one, or I'm the one that's different. I'm the one where it's worse. My situation is different than everybody. Everybody else deserves compassion. Everybody else deserves happiness, but not me. If you want to stay in that mindset and self-punish for the rest of your life, that is your choice. I am telling you that that is not, it's not accurate and it's not fair to you. And any given day in any sort of scenario, the idea that something that happened years and years and years and years and years and years ago should make you be punished for the rest of your life, every moment of every single day, is outrageous. It's outrageous. You are not, a hardened criminal maliciously doing things over and over and over with the intent of gaining pleasure from that, right? Although your brain might tell you, but I think you did, and you did gain pleasure and you were a criminal, but are you one now? Are you continuing to do these things? What you're continuing to do is let it swirl in your head over and over and over and over that whatever happened at whatever age, you deserve punishment and not deserve happiness. If that's your barrier to treatment and you want to stay in that mindset forever, that's your choice. I'm telling you, you don't deserve that. You do deserve to get relief and to get this OCD pulled out of the situation and then maybe deal with the real event for what it is, because you are going to see it differently no matter what age, no matter what happened. You're going to see it differently when OCD isn't spinning on top of it, making you feel even worse and making you feel like you are the worst person on the planet. So, one of the things I wanted to clear up today is, a lot of people are, well, I was this age and I did all my research over here, and it says that child's play and sexual exploration is X age to X age. Stop Googling. Stop looking for reassurance that, that you're not this horrible monster, or that you stop looking for things to prove that you are this horrible monster. Start looking for a therapist. Let's get some help. Let's get this OCD under control so you can really see the real event piece through a lens of self-compassion and not self-degradation. Okay? So I know this was probably harsh, but I think sometimes we need to hear it when we get so wrapped up in the I am the exception. You're not. And if that were the case, then every single person that I talk to, almost every single person would be the exception. And then OCD wouldn't even exist. And I refuse to believe that because I have OCD and I still feel like I'm the exception at times. So I hope this was helpful. I do want you to know if you are struggling with real event, there are a lot of people in my community that also have it and on the topics that I've covered today because it's so much easier from the healing perspective to have other people who get it, that understand the guilt and shame, and that understand how easy it is to slide into that exception piece. When you talk to other people, it can help. So come on in and join my community when you need support, when you want to meet other people, when you need group support, because we run 3 per week. Anyway, you can find the link down below. I hope this helps, and I hope this cleared up a few things, and I hope that by watching this video, you can finally see that you deserve treatment and relief no matter what has happened.